Hi guys, and welcome to the Pursuit of Moneyness. My name is Marnus Mostert, and in today's episode we will be discussing offshore investing and why all the more people are looking across the big blue pond to invest and spend their money. Now, some of the reasons in South Africa might be very obvious. I mean, we could look at reasons like political reasons, corruption.
As President Jacob Zuma has promised austerity measures. Yet Zuma himself has spent more than $20 million of state funds for upgrades to his home, which includes a pool, a chicken coop, and an amphitheater. And in May 2016, it was revealed that the state had spent roughly $550,000 on cars for Zuma's 4 wives.
And state-owned enterprises, which is completely a mess to say the least.
769,800 listen properly.
But there's also different investment reasons why you would actually look at that. But before I get too into it, we are going to be discussing the what, the why, and the how when it comes to offshore investments. Enjoy! In layman's terms, offshore investing is pretty easy to explain. It's either you're investing all your money in one place, in essence South Africa, or you're diversifying and taking some of your money into the rest of the world. Meaning, instead of investing only in South African businesses and hedging your bet that South Africa will outperform everything else, you're diversifying your money, which is not only safer and sensible, but you're allowing it to go into a much broader global perspective. In other words, you're opening up more sectors, more geographical regions, you're opening up different currencies, and all these can be tools in order for your money to grow separately from one another, because the last thing you want is all your money to go up and down at exactly the same time. So why would you want to do that? If you think about it, South Africa contributes less than 1% to global GDP. In other words, if you're only investing in South Africa, it means that you're putting all your eggs in one very, very small basket. Why offshore investing? Guys, we've already discussed some of the matters as to why. For example, we've already discussed the political reasons, where this country finds itself in, the corruption. Towards that, the SOEs that's basically failing at devaluating currency, and all of those reasons. But let me teach you one valuable lesson when it comes to investments. Diversification. So one of the key, if not the most important reason why you should consider offshore investments is diversification. Let me put it in perspective. If you want to invest in South African businesses, there's about 388 that you can choose from. When you look at a global perspective, there's about 680,000 different businesses. I mean, that's businesses from different parts of the world operating completely different from one another. And at the end of the day, you're exposing yourself to different regions, different currencies, different sectors, as we discussed. But at the end of the day, the last thing you want for your money is to go up at the same time and down at exactly the same time. That's the last thing you want. And that is why one of the key components to investment success is, in fact, diversification. Guys, if that doesn't convince you, just look at this picture. It opens up a world of possibilities and powerhouse companies that you can invest in. Once again, feast your eyes on the picture on screen. How many of those companies have you used or currently are using that you basically a consumer and a buyer of? Now you can become an owner of the company, in essence, owning shares in these large corporations that technically rule stock markets all over the world. Okay, guys, let's get into how you actually go about investing offshore. There's 2 main ways that you can do it. It's either directly offshore or indirectly. Directly is basically taking your South African rands out of your bank account, transferring it to an overseas bank account in your name, which we help you set up. So now you're taking your South African rand, you're transferring it into a different currency, let's say dollar for argument's sake. Now your dollars will be taken from that bank account and you'll be investing in dollars in those different companies we just spoke about. The second option is indirect offshore investment exposure. So this is when you keep your money in South African rands and you invest it with exposure to global companies and global sectors. So you can still be buying stocks such as Facebook, Amazon, etc. But the only difference is your money will still be in rands, so technically you're still exposed to all the political risks, the corruption that's happening, and the currency devaluating versus its peers. Right, guys, just to wrap this up, as you can see, the world of offshore investing is just an endless realm of possibilities that you can expose your money to achieve that extraordinary growth. But not only that, but to protect what's already happening here. So in other words, it's a great opportunity to protect and preserve, but also give your money the opportunity to grow and thrive in a completely different scenario and circumstances, which is global exposure. At the end of the day, guys, the question is not should you be doing this, the question is how much. And the only person to really be able to tell you that is your financial advisor. Not only will he be able to help you with that, but as I mentioned throughout this video, he will be assisting with the process of actually investing your money offshore. So what's the right answer for you? The direct currency exposure or the indirect exposure towards assets that's from an offshore component? Well, once again, that I cannot answer you. One thing I do know is that it's critical that we diversify our money. And diversification is probably one of the key components when it comes to financial success. So I really hope that and encourage you to reach out to your financial professional and ask them about offshore investing. Should you not have one, you are welcome to direct your questions directly at me. What is the ways that you can actually do that? Well, first of all, just click on the WhatsApp button. You've got my personal cell phone number, which you can directly communicate to me. In other words, you're welcome to email me on this email address and direct your questions directly at me. Furthermore, there's a lot more tips and tricks coming from this channel, not only with investments, but various financial topics. So my best suggestion for you is to leave me your email address. Once again, you can do that via emailing me or sending me a WhatsApp or just commenting down below. But leave me your email address. I'll put you on the mailer list. On a weekly basis, you guys will receive emails from me reminding you of tips and tricks and also just giving you some perspective of what's happening to your money. In other words, what's happening in the markets, what's happening politically, and just overall having a pretty good understanding of what's possible with money.